I was gonna do this reaction when I don't feel sick no more, but fuck it. I'm tired of watching all these reaction videos where people are missing so many of the bars. So I'm gonna play the song, and this might be a long video because we're gonna have to kind of like dialogue about it. You know what I'm saying? So, but we're gonna be doing the reaction to Euphoria by Kendrick Lamar. It's your boy Yay. Subscribe if you want to. Um, fuck, my phone's gonna die. God damn! Look at that shit. One sec. I have dual chargers. I just unplugged one because I'm about to head out of town in a bit. So fuck. All right. Bear with me because y'all about to learn more in this video than the other reactors. All right. Euphoria, Kendrick Lamar lyrics. Mind you, some of these lyrics are going to be inaccurate. The ones on the YouTube, because people were not hearing the lyrics right, so they were just assuming what it said. So we're gonna choose this one because I don't know, because I saw the other one on the reaction video and the lyric was incorrect. Um, Euphoria. So I'm gonna break it down per line. So the first part of the song, you know how Drake calls himself Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson was in a play where he played, what do you call that shit? The Scarecrow. And one of the actors on there got caught. The person who was playing the Wiz. He said, everything they said about me is true. I'm a fraud. So that's basically this in reverse. But Kendrick purposely left out the I'm a fraud part, so people can figure it out for themselves. Also, this is just a reference to Drake calling himself Michael Jackson all the time. So let's keep going. Them superpowers get neutralized. I can only watch in silence. The famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and now spiraling. You're moving just like a degenerate. Every antic is feeling distasteful. Why calculate? You're not as calculated. I can even predict your angle. So let's back up a little. Them superpowers getting neutralized. So basically, what Kendrick's saying is like, you've been a big ass artist for a while, and today's the day you get put in your place. But not just put in your place. Like, this is the day that people know who you are. I can only watch in silence. This is basically he's saying that you know how Kendrick has that song, I was gonna kill a couple rappers, but they did it to themselves. This is basically what he's saying, but like reiterated. So like, you're kind of like destroying yourself right now. He's starting the beat slow due to the fact that he wants to kind of like have like an intro, like an interlude, like start the shit off, with the appetizer. And he says the famous actor we once knew was looking paranoid and now spiraling. Spiraling. He's saying that because Drake has been, well, I'm speaking in past tense. So Drake was begging Kendrick to drop his reply to Push-Ups and then to Taylor Made. So Drake was like, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? So now that the song came out, it's another story. But Drake wanted a reply because all Drake could probably think about is like, I wonder what he's gonna say about me. So, and then Drake also stole that lyric about him being spiraling, but I think he was just playing, like doing a play on words. So, kudos to Drake for that one. You're moving just like a degenerate. Every antic is feeling distasteful. So basically, everything Drake's doing is just kind of like very childish, like the way he's going about this beef. So Kendrick Lamar is just really saying like, hey, I'm more mature than you. I calculate you're not as calculated. I can predict your angle. So what he's basically just saying is like, I know what you're gonna do next, and I realize that you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. You think that you think that I'm not gonna predict what you're gonna do next, but trust me, I am. That's what he's saying. So I'm gonna press play again, and then we're gonna go to the next group. And this is a long ass song. I wanted to do the other one, but we're gonna do this one first because it came out first. The famous actor we once knew is looking paranoid and now spiraling. You're moving just like a degenerate, heavy antique. Famous actor we once knew is looking fabricating stories on the family front, cause you heard Mr. Morale, a pathetic master manipulator. I can smell the tails on you now. You're not a rap artist, you a scam artist with a hopes of being accepted. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never had been your collect. So I know I'm taking forever to explain this shit. It's because Kendrick took forever writing this shit for this reason. I'm not doing this reaction like everybody else does because they're just kind of skipping over shit just to get the video over. So let me break this part down. It's just 4 lines, 4 bars. Fabricating stories on the family front because you heard Miss Morale. So basically what he's saying is you were listening to my album, and in the album that Mr. Morale, Kendrick Lamar was writing about how he went through therapy and how he made some mistakes as a person and as a husband and as a father and as a relative, as a son. Basically, he was being vulnerable and telling people, like, it's time to go to therapy. My wife told me that therapy was going to help me, and therapy did help me. And now you guys can use me as a blueprint on how to be better people. That's literally what the theme of the album was. That's what's called Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And the Big Stepper part, I think, was just like, I mean, obviously Big Stepper kind of like means like gangster stuff, like, you know, you're tough, you're about that life, and it's plural, so it means like we about that life. But it also is, I think it pertains to him using a lot of instruments and refraining from hit songs. Like he was trying to make more of like something to help you, something therapeutic, not just to be a popular song. All right, next part. A pathetic master manipulator, because Matt tells me now. So basically, what he's saying is, you listen to my album and you're making stories up about my family, because it's on the family front. You're making up stories about my family to benefit you because you heard my album and you didn't hear it correctly, which is a reference to Drake. And he did it again when he dropped that, I think, second or third diss song where he was like, Mother I, saying that Kendrick got raped. That's just another example of how Drake misheard Kendrick Lamar's lyrics. And then Kendrick Lamar's gonna reference later how the metaphors didn't reach Drake's mind. Like, as a great rapper, you didn't even understand these metaphors. That's crazy to me. That's basically what he's saying to that. He said, I can smell the tails on you now. So he said he knows that Drake has more lies to tell just because of what he misheard on Kendrick's album. Next part is, you're not a rap artist, you're a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. So what he's talking about is like, you're not a rap artist, which obviously Drake is, but this is just his way of disrespecting him. But you're a scam artist with hopes of being accepted. So basically what he's saying is like, you really want to be accepted by the culture, the community, by everyone around you so bad that you are trying too hard. You're selling fake shit. So that's why, you know, when you're a scam artist, you're stealing and selling fake shit and doing things illegally. That's basically what a scam artist is. So that's why he's referencing Drake as that type of person. Tommy Hilfiger stood out. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never been your collection. So what he's saying is that Tommy Hilfiger. There was a point in time where Tommy Hilfiger was considered racist because he didn't want poor black people or people of color, so Mexicans as well, everybody else, to buy his. He didn't want people to buy his clothes because he felt like, oh, none of you, none of you, none of you minorities can afford my clothes. That's basically what Tommy Hilfiger did, and so he was considered a racist. And then he says, but FUBU never been your collection. So he's talking about like, you never even bought your black brands. It's never been in your closet, but you bought Tommy Hilfiger. You were supporting a racist, so that's what that means. So next line.
Later, I can smell the tails on you now. You're not a rap artist, you a scam artist with the hopes of being accepted. Tommy Hilfiger stood out, but FUBU never had been your collection. I make music that electrify 'em. You make music that pacify 'em. I can double down on that line, but spare you this time. It's random acts of kindness. Know you're a master manipulator and a bitch you a liar too. But don't tell no lies about me, and I won't tell truths about you. So what he's saying in this line is, I make music that electrify him. So he's referencing when Eminem had when they asked Eminem, like, what do you think about Kendrick? And Eminem was like, he's very electrifying. And that was the same interview where, and like, no, he literally says this right after he says he's electrifying. He talks about how he couldn't believe how good Kendrick Lamar was as a rapper, so he had to test him, and Kendrick Lamar passed the test. So that's what that means. And then you make music that pacify, like, just to be passive, and you just, it doesn't do anything for anybody, basically what he's saying. But also pacify him, like pacifier, because the pedophile allegations. I can double down on that line. So that's his way of saying, like, I'm literally talking about you being a pedophile. That's literally what that part meant. And then next, but spare you this time. So basically, what Kendrick's saying, like, I don't got time to like fully like go into your pedophilia, and that's random acts of kindness. What he's basically telling Drake, because the thing is, when Kendrick's dissing Drake, he's not dissing Drake to like hype everybody up. He's dissing Drake to say, look, nigga, I'm talking to you directly. And I really want you to know, don't fuck around and find out. So when he says, but spare you this time, that's random acts of kindness. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, with all these diss songs, Kendrick Lamar has been trying to warn Drake and kind of like be a friend still, even though he's dissing him, saying like, hey, like, I can really say some shit about you. You need to work on yourself. Chill out. That's kind of like what he's saying throughout this rap diss, because he had more tea on Drake. So next part, he says, no, you a master manipulator and a habitual liar too. So basically saying that Drake just lies a lot and tries to change the script to get rid of those lies. But don't tell no lies about me. I won't tell truth about you. So this is a callback to Kendrick Lamar's The Heart Part 4, I believe, where he was at, a lot of people don't know, but The Heart Part 4 was kind of like a diss to Drake. Um, so if you want to go listen to those lyrics, it'll kind of make more sense now. Same with a lot of songs like King Kunta, like a lot of those songs Kendrick Lamar dropped were disses to Drake, and Drake did the same thing on multiple songs. But don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truth about you. So right here, he's just like hyping the song up, trying to like get the energy in, because obviously nobody wants to listen to this slow song all day. So shoo. A lot of people just think he's doing ad libs, but I think that he's saying shoot like a fly, because Drake was like beat it, which means the same thing as shoot. And then B. I don't know what that means. Maybe it's maybe means something, maybe it doesn't. But let's go to the next part. Yeah, I'm out the way, I'm low, okay. The island right here is remote, okay. I ain't thinking about no reaper, nigga. I'm reaping what I sow. So I ain't thinking about no reaper. I'm reaping what I sow, okay. So what he's, sorry, I moved the lyrics. Shit. God damn, hold up. I'm just gonna have to let it play a little bit. Song's long, so it's easy to fuck up the cursor. Right, here it is. I'm out the way, yeah, I'm low, okay. So basically what he's saying is he is on vacation. Like, he's out there, like, just keeping to himself. That's basically what he's saying. He said, I'm not at home in Compton. I'm not at home in New York. He said, the island right here is remote, okay? So he's basically saying this is the island nobody comes to. I'm in secret right now. I'm chilling in secret, which is why he's saying that, is because he's basically telling people like, hey, yo, this is why I haven't responded. And then he says, I ain't thinking about no reaper. Nigga, I'm reaping what I sow, okay? So he's saying I'm not, so reaper is usually a killer. So he's saying that Drake is trying to kill him, and that he's not thinking about Drake because he's reaping what he sows. And that's just a play on words, but it also means that he's reaping what he sows. And the thing is, it doesn't make sense now, but in the next few lines, this is gonna make sense. Reaping what he sows means I'm handling things that have to take place because of decisions I made. So he's talking about his kids. So basically, he's saying I'm taking care of my kids right now in the middle of nowhere, on the low.
So that's why I'm not too concerned about your little rap beef that you're trying to have with me. But then he says, okay, like you understand, you get it, and then he's gonna go into it, be like, fuck it, never mind.
Yeah, I'm low, okay. The island right here, remote, okay. I ain't thinking about no reaper. Nigga, I'm reaping what I sow, okay. Got a Benjamin and a Jackson all in my house, like I'm Joe, okay. Hellcat, made his own voice in them types LA solo, okay. Everybody went.
So, got a Benjamin and a Jackson in my house, like I'm Joe, okay. So basically, Kendrick's like, I already signed you. I'm Joe Jackson. You're Michael Jackson. But he's saying, so basically he's saying, I signed you. This is my house. Like, when Florida says, this is my house. Or when Remy Ma just think of Minaj said, this is my house. Same aspect. But also, Benjamin is the name of Michael Jackson's rat. So basically what he's saying is one of the people who work for you, the people that you own, because, Drake owns the people who works for him because they're on his payroll. One of them is a rat. That's what he's saying, because Benjamin was a rat. So he's saying, Drake, you have a pet rat with you. But he's also saying, I have a Benjamin in my house. So he's saying that rat's working for me. And he's also going to say that in his third diss. And then he says Hellcat. So Hellcat, like obviously, like that's when Hellcats are expensive and it's hard to get. So a lot of people always talk about Hellcats. But Hellcat is a homophone for like he's a cat. I mean, you could say that's another word for pussy, but that's not what Kendrick's saying properly. He's saying like cat. Cat's another word for like a person. That's what cat means. And Hellcat, like he's a person from hell. Like he's like somebody who's like very demonic. And then that's why this next line says, made his homeboys and them type sell their soul. And okay. So he says, basically he's telling people that like Drake forced everybody around him to sell their soul. And that's why when The Weeknd was dissing Drake, that's what he was talking about. Like, Drake tried to make him sell his soul and sign to OVO. Next line says, everybody want to be demons, had to get chipped by a throwaway. So this is a double entendre for like everybody want to be demons. So like, evil and devils, but they're also talking about demon, like Future's middle name. So everybody want to be like Future. Till they get chipped by a throwaway. So getting chipped by a throwaway, that's a rap term. What that means is like Drake got offended by a lyric that Kendrick Lamar didn't even try hard on. Like Kendrick Lamar was like, maybe I'll just throw this lyric away. That's what, in rap terms, that's what a throwaway is. It's like, kind of like a filler is another way you can probably say that. So he's basically saying like, and then also he's referencing Future's song Throwaway. So that's like three entendres. And when Drake dissed Kendrick, he did say there better be quintuple entendres that like songs like in the song that I won't even understand. And that's why Kendrick Lamar made sure there was. And that plaque right there proves that I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So anyways, back to the topic. And I might do a show a day. Once a lame, always a lame. When he says I might do a show a day, he's talking about like, I think he's talking about him and Drake. So he's saying like, Drake, you're you're doing all these performances, but it's not going to change who you are. But I think he's also saying like, I'm going to expose you every day if I need to. Once a lame, always a lame. So he's saying that Drake, like, all this money is not going to fix your problems. It's not going to change who you are as a person. That's what he's saying. Once a lame, always a lame. And let me tell you why that's what he's saying, because the next line answers it. So one thing you guys don't know about Kendrick Lamar's rap style is he says things and you're like, that doesn't make sense. And then he'll put a line under it that'll explain the first line. And then it restarts all over. So. Once a lame, always a lame. Oh, you thought the money, the power, the fame would make you go away? So when he says, like he's talking about Drake being trying to be materialistic to cover up his insecurities of who he is. And when he says make you go away, people are like, why is he saying make you go away? It doesn't make sense. Make you go away, like make who you are go away. The person you are go away. So you're trying to cover up who you are. Make you go away. You think the money's gonna make you go away? No, you're still the person you were from the jump. And then he's gonna say, and then he changes the subject and says, "Have you ever played? Have you ever?" So that that's kind of like never have I ever, but he's kind of like approaching it from a different angle. So he's trying to make it like a mind game now. He's like, have you ever played? Have you ever? This is kind of like where you admit if you've done things, and whoever didn't do it, they have to put their hands up or a finger up. So that basically what he's saying is like we're gonna expose who's done shit, whether it's you or me, and how we relate to the things we've done. So first thing he says is, "Okay, nigga, let's play." So he's just accepting it for him, like, "Okay, we're gonna play this." Have you ever walked your enemy down like with a poker face? Saying basically, he's saying like, have you ever killed somebody with a stoic, non-remorseful face, where you didn't know how to, like, you didn't understand what you did when you killed that person? Have you ever killed somebody? Is what he's saying. And then he says, have you ever paid 500,000 like to an open case? So he's making a reference to a sexual lawsuit that Drake was involved in, where Drake paid them money, but nobody knows why, and the case was just dropped, which usually is key for bribing. But the funny part is Drake compares himself to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson had to do the same thing, and I think in one of the diss songs, I think it was Meet the Grams. Kendrick says, "What would Mike do?" So I think this is just like, it just too much correlates to, like, even if Kendrick Lamar didn't mean to say this, it's just like, wow, he's still saying it. He doesn't know that he's saying it in both songs at the same time. Um, and I think Kendrick Lamar had like some kind of lawsuit too that was 50 thou, and basically Kendrick Lamar tried to do the same thing Drake did, but it wasn't sexual. It was like there was another lawsuit, but he said that I came out straight, even though I lost the case, which means that like he came out straight because like it wasn't enough to destroy him. But that's what I'm assuming. Just that part, I'm assuming. But the money, the power, fame will make you go away. Have you ever laughed and I failed it? And that's the part where he says, "Well, I have, and I failed them both." So failed at both. So that means there might have been two lawsuits, but he came out straight. And then he says, "I hate when a rapper talk about guns." For all you gangster rappers out there, always acting like you're about that life. He says, "I hate when a rapper talks about guns," and then somebody dies. Saying like you guys act so tough and then just fucks up everything because you're not about that life, and somebody gets hurt, they turn into nuns. So basically, nuns, like, they become very like religious all of a sudden, and nuns are the most religious people. I think there was a play on nuns and the word nuns, like nuns and nones. There was a play on there. I forgot what it was. I think it means like, you don't exist no more, or you become nobody, or you die. I think that's what it meant, but I'm not really going to try to dwell on that. So we're going to go to the next part. Then hop online and pray and be like, pray for my city. So like when people die, everybody's out like, pray for my city. Someone got shot. Someone got killed. Oh my god, this happened. And so that's what he's talking about. Like he hates when people do that shit. And then he faking for likes and digital hugs. So this is what other people do. Let's talk about other people first. Likes and digital hugs. People just want attention. They just want fake hugs because they feel like they're not getting enough love. So he's kind of saying that that's what Drake does. Like he just does it because Drake actually does this a lot. He always goes online like, "Oh, rest in peace to this person," and then writes a whole fucking memoir about them and shit just to get like some kind of like attention. Drake's one of those. That's why he calls him a master manipulator, because Drake's always trying to get attention in any way he can get it. And it might not feel like he's trying to, but that's the whole point of a lot of Kendrick's disses, is to prove Drake's insecurity about a lot of things, to where he's not like acknowledging it his damn self. And that's why Kendrick is approaching Drake in this diss as a friend who's trying to provide information that he learned in therapy. So he's trying to be a therapist to Drake while dissing him, because obviously it's a rap beef. But I came out straight. I hate when a rapper talk about guns, then somebody died, they turn into nuns, then I hop online like, pray for my city, he faking for likes and digital hugs. His daddy a killer, he wanna be junior, they must have forgot the shit that they done, dementia must. All right. His dad, a lot of y'all heard this song before, and you're probably watching this just to see what I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna tell you what I'm thinking about it. His daddy a killer, he wanted to be junior. So there was an accusation that Drake's dad killed somebody. So he's basically saying that Drake's trying to pretend he's a killer like his dad, which is why in Meet the Grams, which is a different song than this, he tells Drake like, oh, he tells Drake's dad, who's Dennis, like, you know, your son's using you for your what you done to like validify himself, to have validity, like the fact that Drake's dad lived in America, but the rest of Drake's ancestors didn't. So like he's like, oh, he's just trying to make himself seem American. He's trying to make himself seem black. He's trying to make himself seem like a killer like you. Like basically trying to like embody his own dad. So he's wannabe junior, which means that he wanna be junior. So he wants to be like exactly like his dad. Because usually when you're a junior, that means you have the same name. So he wants to be seen the same way. Um, and they must have forgot the shit that they done. So basically, he's just bringing up the fact that Drake's dad did some crazy shit, and everybody's acting like they don't remember it. Dementia must run his family because you know they forgot. So that means that everybody's forgetting. But let it get shaky on Parkinson. So basically, he's making a reference to Parkinson's disease, where you shake, you get shake. He doesn't say. Uh, he doesn't say park your son. He says park his son. So like Parkinson. But you know, obviously, no one's gonna say I park his son. Like everybody's gonna be like, what the fuck? You know, I'll park his son. Put him in his place. Park is a, I believe, a New York term. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a New York term that means put somebody in their place and let them know what the fuck's good. So basically, saying that he will put Dennis's son in his place, and Dennis's son is Drake. So basically, he's just saying like, if things get crazy, like if things get shaky, like if we have problems, I'm gonna put Drake in his place. So that's what that is, and then we'll go to the next line. In his family, but let it get shaky. I park his son. The very first time I shot me a Drake. So I'm not gonna play the lyrics. I'm just gonna read them. That way we save time, because I do have somewhere to be in like 30 minutes. The very first time I shot me a Drake. So he's saying that he's shooting Drake again right now. But he's also saying the first time he shot Drake, like he actually shot the gun Drake. The homie had told me to aim it this way. So I think he's basically saying like his friend taught him how to aim it. The same thing happened with me with my grandma. You know, I come from like a family who like knows how to shoot things in midair. Basically, but he's also saying like his friend didn't just teach him how to aim. His friend taught him how to like somebody told him that this is how you should attack Drake. So I didn't point down enough. So basically, he's saying that Drake is below him, and he didn't stoop to Drake's level when he attacked Drake before. And he said, "Today I'll show you that I learned from those mistakes." So basically, what he's saying is like, now I'm gonna do it. You know. And somebody had told me that you had a ring. On God, I'm ready to double the wage. So he's talking about the ring that Drake paid all this fucking money to purchase. It was a Tupac ring. And, you know, obviously Tupac is Kendrick's idol. And, you know, you just can't have Tupac's ring as fucking decoration when you don't respect the culture. He said, I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make Pac turn in his grave. So basically he's saying, like, I might just have to, like, put a hit out on you and get that ring from you somehow, because like Pac doesn't like the fact that you're over here trying to like embody him and all that shit when you're literally a shitty person and a shitty person of the culture and not worthy of it, basically. Hold on, wipe this shit. Sorry, I'm doing it from all angles. I could have did this cute and professional. I'm not gonna do that. It's all about what you hear. So matter of fact, you don't even need to look at me to learn a lot about this song. Next line. Told me that aiming this way, I didn't point down enough. Today I show you I learned from those mistakes. Somebody had told me that you got a ring. On God, I'm ready to double the wage. I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make Pac turn in the grave. All right, next part says, cutthroat business, you got shit twisted. So basically he's saying like, you know, this is bigger than what you're making it seem. Like you're playing a dangerous game. And what is this? The braids? So like he's talking about like how Drake you know, he always has braids and twists. So he's saying you got shit twisted. You're not like, is the braids too tight? And he's saying, I hurt your feelings. You don't work with me. Okay, so he's just like being condescending, saying like, oh, you don't like me no more. And then basically also that's a reference to Kendrick not trying to like start beef when he dissed Drake, possibly. But honestly, I feel like Kendrick did want the smoke. I think he just wanted to like fuck with Drake a little bit, but he might have felt bad for wanting to be for Drake too. It's very possible. And then it's three goats left. So he's saying that there's me, you, and J. Cole. I seen two of them kissing and hugging on stage because they've been like touring and doing all these shows together, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" And he says, "I love them to death." So he's saying, "I love both of you guys." And in 8 bars, I'll explain that phrase. So basically, he's saying like he's gonna spit the next 8 bars to explain why he loves them, because people don't understand. Like, you love them? What? You just dissed them? What? And so then he says, "This is the first 4 bars. It's nothing nobody can tell me." So he's saying, "I don't give a fuck what y'all say. I don't want to talk on no celly." So obviously he's been ignoring calls from either their managers or them personally. But he's talking about no. Remember when he said in 8 bars, he's making like a reference to like jail, I think, celly, but I could be wrong. I got language barriers. So language barriers, like, it's usually when you can't understand what someone's saying, but that's not what. But Kendrick is kind of saying that like people don't understand what Kendrick's saying, like people don't understand his music, they don't understand his art form. But he's also saying um, like there's like I can only stand real shit, like I don't understand like all this other talk, that all this shit that you're trying to prove. Like, then that's why he follows up with, "It's no accent you can sell me." So basically he's saying like, um you can talk, you can say this, you can say that, you can say it like this kind of way and that kind of way, but I'm still not going to take it. That's what that means. He's like, "No." He said, "You can say it in a nice voice, a great voice, a mean voice. You can say it in a Jamaican voice, a Mexican voice, all you want, or accent. I'm still not gonna give a shit about how you say it. I don't want to talk. It's up." And he said that in like that. Tell me, I don't want to talk on no celly. You know I got language barriers. There's no accent you can sell me. You're Cole and not. And then he says, "Cole and Aubrey know I'm a selfish nigga." So he's basically saying that J. Cole and Drake know he's selfish. I don't know what that part. I don't know what that part is referencing. I don't know if it means more than that, but I don't think it is. The crown is heavy. So basically saying it's hard being the best. Um, so basically, I think what he's trying to say is like he wants to be the best, and everybody knows he's the best, but it's hard to be the best because you always have people trying to compete with you. That might be something he's trying to say. But in this last line, he says, "I pray they're my real friends. If not, I wind up Melly." So, wind up Melly is accused of killing his two best friends. And, he wrote that song "Murder on My Mind," talking about a murder that he really wanted to commit. And so he said, if Drake and J. Cole are not my friends either, then I'm gonna have to kill them. I'm a selfish nigga. The crown is heavy. I pray they my real friends. If not, I'm YNW Melly. I don't like you. Okay, then he says, "I don't like you popping shit at Pharrell. For him, I heard the beef." So Drake dissed Pharrell Williams. And basically what he's saying, because of the type of person Pharrell Williams is, Kendrick don't mind like stepping in for like being like, "What'd you say to my friend?" And then he says, "Yeah, fuck all that pushing P. Let me see you push a T." So, talking about like pushing P, the song, saying like, "Fuck all that pushing pimp, fuck all that player shit," and whatever relation Drake has to that song. He says, "Let me see you push a T." So Pusha T dropped that diss song that exposed him for having Adonis as the son, the story of Adidon, which was used on the beat, the story of OJ, which was by Jay-Z. And in that song, Jay-Z says, "I'm not black, I'm OJ." So it's a play on words, and obviously Kendrick references OJ in his two of his other diss songs. So it's just a full circle moment. And Pusha T, Continental T. That might be what he's saying. Maybe not. But I think he's just saying like, you can't do what Pusha T does. Like you couldn't even whip Pusha T's ass, And then he said he doubles down on that and says, "You better off spinning again on him if you think about pushing me." So he's saying you have a better chance going against Pusha T, even though Pusha T beat you. And then he says, "He's Terrence Crawford. I'm Terrence Oh no, he's saying he's Terrence Thornton. I'm Terrence Crawford. Yeah, I'm whooping feet. So if I can find my this is my other phone. Terrence Thornton is Pusha T's real name. So he's saying he's Terrence Thornton. He's just him. So Terrence Crawford, I believe, is the one that says main all the time. Let me see. Okay, no, this is. Oh no, he's a boxer. He's a boxer. Oh, I remember that. He's a boxer. So he's saying I actually kick ass. Saying I'm whooping feet, which is California slang for knock you out of your shoes. P. Let me see you push a T. You better off spinning like pushing me. Terrence Thornton, I'm tired of calling. Yeah, I'm whooping feet. All right, next line says, we ain't got to get personal. This is a friendly fade. You should keep it that way. So basically, what he's saying, like, you said something that offended me, but just watch out because you're being like too like personal. Like, this rap beef is not serious to me. Is what he's saying. Yeah, I'm over here foaming at the mouth. Sorry, y'all. This is the only way I could get this fucking reaction video out, and people just been harassing me about it. And he says, I got some shit about niggas that make Gunna wanna look like a saint. So basically he's saying, I know a lot of things about people and I can expose them. And, obviously Gunna was, um, everybody's saying that Gunna snitched on Young Thug's gang. He's saying everything about his gang. So what he's saying is like, I know stuff about your gang. But when he says Gunna wanna, he's just not rhyming for fun. He's saying that make Gunna wanna look like a saint. So like wanna, like he's a play on words. And he's saying like I could be a snitch too. I can tell all y'all shit. He's not saying that Gunna is guilty, but he's saying he's gonna make Gunna look like a saint because everybody thinks Gunna's a snitch. So he's saying I could be a real snitch. I'm doing good, Zane. If you have any questions, y'all can put it in the chat. And he says, this ain't been about critics, not about gimmicks, not about who the greatest. God, it's fucking hot in this damn house. I live in Las Vegas, y'all. It's hot as hell. It's not about critics, so it's not about like what other people say. It's not about gimmicks, like doing shit to get you more attention or to make you look different, like special, or make you like stand out. Not about who the greatest. It's not about who's the best rapper. It's about love and hate. So it's about like, do I like you or not? And then he follows up with, let me say I'm the biggest hater. So he's saying I really don't like these things about you. But he's obviously not saying I'm a hater. He's basically saying like, it's like when someone's like, being sarcastic, like, oh, I'm out. And when you say oh, you're just hating, and you'd be like, yeah, I'm the biggest hater. Like, he's kind of just being sarcastic. And this is the part where everybody starts getting confused and thinking that Kendrick Lamar's bar was like weak because they don't get the reference. And I'm about to explain the reference. So he says, I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk. I hate the way that you dress. Everybody's just like, oh, he's just saying that he hates them, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people are saying it's a reference to DMX saying the same thing about Drake. DMX didn't say that exactly. He did say he hates the way Drake walks and talks, but he didn't say he hates the way Drake dresses. He just hates other things about Drake. This is a reference to Drake trying to be like Michael Jackson. There's a lot of Michael Jackson references in all Kendrick's disses. I just want to put that out there. So if you don't understand something, it's probably about Michael Jackson. So in Michael Jackson, this is why it's a Michael Jackson reference. So in the song "The Way You Make Me Feel," not Kendrick Lamar, Michael Jackson says, "I love the way that you walk, you talk, your dress." I love the way that you walk, you talk, your dress. So basically, he's just saying the opposite. He said, "I don't like. That's how you make me feel," because the song is called "The Way You Make Me Feel." So that's the way Drake makes Kendrick feel. The opposite of what Michael Jackson felt to the girl he was chasing after in the music video. Next part is I hate the way you sneak this. So this kind of like is just like continuing on the hate, but like changing the subject in a way. I hate the way you sneak this, and I don't like how you're just always trying to come for me, without being direct. If I catch flight, it's gonna be a direct. Oh, look at me finish my own sentences. Direct flights, like that, no stops. If I catch flight, that's another way of saying like if I find out what you're saying, it's gonna be direct. So he's saying like he's comparing flying directly with no stops, which means that he's gonna keep dissing you. But he's also saying like if he finds out what you're saying about him, he's gonna actually just diss you first and be blunt about it. So he's saying, don't throw shade at me because I'll just come straight up for you and say your name. Kind of what like a lot of real good rappers actually do. Oh God, this is taking so damn long. 3 minutes, goddamn, and I'm about 40 minutes in. All right, we hate the bitches you fuck because they confuse themselves with real women. He's saying that a lot of people don't like the people that Drake has sex, which is true. Because I notice every time I see Drake on a date, I'm like, what? I'm like, why? Like, why are you dating this person? Not because like they're under him, but like that just doesn't even make sense why you would date them. Because like you guys you don't have nothing in common. They look too young for you. They come from a weird background, or they're too good for you. But that's another story for another day. But also he says it because they confuse their self with real women. So basically, he's saying that you're dating a bunch of children who think they're adults, but also you're dating a bunch of whores who think they're women with morals. So he's saying like everybody just hates him for different reasons. And notice I said we, so it's not me. I'm with the culture fit. So what he's saying like the black people in the industry are not fucking with that shit, and they're also saying that the women he dates is usually just white women. And it might seem like a pot kettle black type of situation because, Kendrick, fuck, I got 30 more minutes. Because Kendrick has a mixed girlfriend, a wife, whatever. And what do you call it? Kendrick has a mixed girlfriend, but he cheated on his wife with a white woman, according to what Kendrick Lamar wrote in his own music. But here's the thing about that. Kendrick Lamar admitted that he was wrong when he did that. And that's why he wrote those songs to let people know, like, hey, I made mistakes, learn from my mistakes. And then, in the Mother Eye song that Drake was talking so much shit about, Kendrick explains how, like, he has family trauma and it affected his loyalty to his wife. And his wife told him to go to therapy. And when he went to therapy, it fixed him and it fixed everything for his kids so that they didn't get affected by it. And then and then he gives Whitney thanks because if she didn't tell him to go to therapy, none of this would be fixed, and the cheating and everything would continue, and his kids will probably pay the price for all that. All right, goddamn, shit's getting deep. And he says I'm with the culture thing, so he's saying like a lot of people understand me more than you because I'm actually black, and he's not saying because Drake's light skin. He's saying because Drake only uses his black card when it's gonna get him a check. Other than that, he like more like kisses ass to his white side, dating white women, having a baby with a white woman, um, acting like a white person, just loving and supporting white people more than his culture, and not really understanding what the culture is. And the culture is not just like being a black person. He's talking about Black American culture pertaining to hip hop. Drake's not from America. His dad is maybe, but Drake was not born here. He might have swung back and forth between here, but he didn't stay here long enough to understand the culture. He wasn't bred into it. He's a visitor. No matter how many times he comes here, he's a visitor. So that's what he's saying. Drake is a light skin. Like if Drake was a respectable light skin, like let's say it was who's a light skin rapper that is respectable in the rap community. There's not a lot of them. Is not because they never experienced like what dark skins have to go through. They get like a soft version of that what they go through. But if you guys can think of a light skin that goes through a lot of shit, um, oh hi Noah, I'm doing a breakdown of Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria diss and how it relates to all the other disses. That's what I'm doing. But if y'all can think of a light skin rapper that's like bit more cultural, that would be great. Anyways, let's go to the next part. How many more fairy tale stories till we've had enough? So he's basically saying I'm tired of like all your music just like giving people like false hope and like spreading like a bad image and you just bragging about yourself, making people want to be like you. Like we're just getting tired of hearing that shit. That's what he's saying. And he's also saying that Drake's lying about all that shit anyways. Which he's not lying about all of it, but he's lying about how it makes him feel. How many more black features do you feel like you're finally black enough? So this is a double entendre talking about black features like big nose, big lips, dark skin, curly hair, which I have most of my dad's features, but not really his skin tone. Got my mom's skin tone. My mom's Native American, full Native American. But he's saying like, how many black features like you know what's gonna like that's just the play on words. But the real part he's talking about is like how many black people do you got to make music with so you can feel like you fit in. That's what he's saying. Because he's saying that Drake has insecurity about being a light skin, and then he's just poking at the bear, poking on the light skin thingy. Um, if you're watching this, can you let me know if you hear me? Because I really went into a lot of things, and the last thing would be that I would hate if I did all this talking for nothing. Um, Then he says, I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when they act tough. So he's basically saying, like, hey, just stick to that lovey dovey song, singing shit, and stop trying to act like you gangster, which is what Lil Wayne told Drake. He was like, keep it Canadian. And Drake didn't do that. And then he says, you're going to make a nigga bring back Puff. So Puff is P. Diddy. Um, what he's saying about that is one time P. Diddy slapped Drake in the face and Drake didn't do anything, and nobody in Drake's clique did anything either. So he's basically saying like, don't make me slap you, nigga, because no one's gonna defend you anyways. And then that's what he follows up with. Let me see if Chubbs really crashed something. So basically he's saying like, oh, is your bodyguard gonna actually do something if I slap you? So that's what that part means. But crash is usually a term for like act out or like do something dangerous or whatever.
More black features till you finally feel that you're black enough. I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like Drake when he act tough. You gonna make a nigga bring back Puff. Let me see if Chubbs really crash something. You're
my first one, like my last one. I'm gonna try to speed up on this because I'm getting tired. He's basically saying my first album and my last album are both classics. You don't have one, which is technically a lie. But when he says classics, he's referring because some people make albums that are like more like hit albums instead of classic albums. Like for example, Little Kim's music is classical, but a lot of Nicki Minaj albums are just like hits. But I would say Pink Friday would be considered a hit, but everything else probably not. Everything after that is not a class. I mean, Pink Friday is a classic, but I feel like everything else that is just hit albums. So basically, what he's saying is like the music you make is just like very it's just all materialistic. It doesn't mean shit. But he's not saying that Drake doesn't have classics because people will disagree with that. He's just saying that that's what my opinion on it is. Let your core audience stomach that and tell them where you get ad from. So core audience is like Drake's biggest fans and everybody who listens to him. And then let them stomach that. Like let them accept it. That's another word for that. But he's doing a play on words. He's talking about core, stomach, and abs. Those are all different parts of your stomach area. And tell them where you get your abs from. So basically he's saying like let your fans accept the fact that that's who you are, and then let them know that, oh, by the way, you did get BBL surgery. But like we don't know if Drake actually got a BBL. He might have got like a stomach fat, like a VV1, V11. Oh, I forgot V12. Oh, V12. It's they shape out your abs. I think Kylie Jenner got one too. So it's not really BBL is more for butts, but they do it's the same method for how they do those surgeries on your abs and your butt. Like they do it in similar ways. They suck fat out, they move it around, they adjust the size of it by pressing on it and shit. So that's why they call him BBL Drizzy. Probably just to feminize him more. And then he said, oh, he even follows up with V12. It's a fast one. So V12 is usually, I don't know if it's a gun or a car, but he's also talking about the V12 machine. It's a fast one. Like when you fast, you lose weight. Bow, bow, bow. Last one. I don't know if he's talking about shooting. Or that Drake's gonna not do it no more. I don't know what that part means. Next part. Headshot for you better walk around like Daft Punk. So he's saying like I'm killing you, and this is gonna be the most popular thing to happen this year, which is just happened. That is the most popular thing that Kendrick Lamar dethroned Drake and destroyed him or whatever the hell. And a lot of people be like, "Oh, Drake's still gonna come back and make music, whatever." He might, but he might get like slightly canceled, kind of like what happened with the baby. He was becoming big, and next thing you know, like you barely even see him just doing freestyles and dropping songs that no one's ever heard. Because it's raps more than if people like your songs. People love R. Kelly songs, so they're gonna listen to it. But you're not gonna chart. Nobody's gonna talk about your name anymore because your endorsements, you lose endorsements, and there's a lot of endorsements and stuff, and people are feeling very touchy about the Drake pedophilia accusations. So people are gonna slowly just walk away and. As Kendrick referenced in his song, saying like, y'all gotta keep away from this nigga. So basically, saying headshot for the year, you better walk around like Daft Punk. So he's basically saying like, when Daft Punk goes out in public, they hide their face. So he's basically saying like, put a helmet on, so I can't recognize it's you. All right, next part. Then he says, "Remember." I forgot what that reference was to. It calls back to one of his other songs. It's saying like, "Remember when this happened?" Like, remember, like he's saying, "There's something you told me that I exposed already." Hey, for the people listening, can you guys hear me? Is my thing on mute or something? So I'll make sure. Yeah or nay? That's not maybe so. All right, well, whatever. I'm gonna continue, and if I, you know, um, and then he shouts out his old. Oh, let me tell you something. Drake keeps talking about how Kendrick Lamar is signed. He's not signed no more. He actually owns his own record label now. And he's co-owners with his manager. But he used to be signed. So that's why Drake was talking about Top Dog and dropping 50 because, dropping half his money for the music that he drops. But Kendrick Lamar's not signing nobody. He's an independent artist now. Just want people to know that. So Kendrick Lamar brings this up. Top Dog, who the fuck they think they playing with? Kendrick Lamar's last album was the last album under TDE, which was Mr. Morale. And unlike a lot of artists, Kendrick Lamar dropped a project that was good. Like people didn't like it, but it was good as far as quality, not as far as like catchy and popularity. Which actually is the same situation Prince went through. His label said, "I'm not gonna let you go until you give us more projects." So Prince dropped all these trash products, and Kendrick compares himself to Prince. The difference in this situation is Kendrick's not purposely dropping trash projects. He had an interview where he said he purposely was trying to refrain from making catchy club music on that album. All right, next part. Kind of like what he did in this rap beef, and then he dropped "Not Like Us" to prove that he can do it. Extortion, my middle name as soon as you jump off that plane, bitch. So I think that Drake was talking about the weekend when he said extortion, but I think that he could be talking about Kendrick, and I think Kendrick probably thought that too. And he's saying drop and give me 50. So I think Kendrick's making a reference to like, I'll drop 50 on you, like 50 bullets. I don't know. A lot of y'all don't speak Ebonics or like hood slang, but that's usually something you'll say to someone, or you'll be like, "I'll dump 50 in your whip," or "I'm about to blast on you." Like there's all kinds of different ways to say "I'm gonna shoot you." It's literally like probably like 30. And so basically, he's saying that so as soon as you're in my city, like you're gonna die. I'm gonna shoot you. There's another meaning for it. I just don't want to think about it. I'm allergic to lame shit. Only you like me famous. So he's like, all this. I'm the most famous guy. Like he's saying, I don't give a fuck about none of that. He said, I'm doing this shit for a purpose. I'm not making rap music to be famous. I'm making rap music to help people. And that's actually what his last album was about. Like, helping people, helping people with their trauma. That's what that last album was about. Like I said earlier. Yachty can't give you no swag. I don't give a fuck what you hang with. So Yachty is he's very, even though he's not the best rapper, he's very influential as far as fashion goes, and he's one of the first people to start doing all the gay shit. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like I do the same thing. Like Like I'm into that kind of fashion, like that indie type stuff. But it was very new to black people when Yachty did it. So people started thinking it was gay, and Drake started copying that. But Kendrick Lamar is saying, "I don't give a fuck who you hang with. I don't care. I don't give a fuck who your friends are, and you can try to be all gay and dress up however the fuck you want. Um, it's still not going to mean shit. Like you can dress up in all these facades, and whether it's clothes or personality, Top dog, who the fuck they- I hate the way this. So then he repeats the part. I hate the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you dress. Going back to that Michael Jackson reference I said earlier in the video. Surprised you wanted that feature request. We got some shit to address. So Drake asked Kendrick Lamar to be on his song First Person Shooter, according to aka DJ Academics, who's like Drake's best friend. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Like, he Dick Rice Drake, biggest fan, I guess you could say. But DJ Academics is a influencer, so he can help flip the script. That's why Kendrick calls him out. And he said, we got some shit to address, because he was surprised that Drake reached out to him. He's like, what? You want to feature? And he said, we got some shit to address. Like, we got to talk about some things before I give you that feature. That's basically what he's saying. Like, he said, we just can't forget, like, we got some problems. I even hate when you say the word nigga, but that's just me, I guess. This happens a lot, even with me. Like, I'm light skinned, and people don't think I'm light skinned enough. They think I look Mexican or Puerto Rican or some shit. People say do the same thing with Cardi B. She's technically Afro Latino, which is basically Spanish speaking black people who are lighter skinned because they have some Spanish blood. And me, there's not really a term for people like me, but basically Black Native Americans. But there's a lot of Black Native Americans. There's like Puerto Ricans, but they're not really like actual Black Native Americans. They're just like have some of the DNA. I'm like actual Black Native American. Anyways, back to this. So he's saying, I hate when you say the word nigga, but that's just me, I guess. But he's not saying because he's light skinned. It literally has nothing to do with that. The only person who's bullying Drake for being light skinned is Rick Ross. Kendrick Lamar's not bullying him for being light skinned. He's saying you choose to be more white than black. You're whitewashed. You're not even real black. You don't act like a real black person. You're just out here just using black people. That's what he's saying. Some shit just cringeworthy. It ain't even got to be deep. I'm doing good too, according to God's standards. Keep making me dance, wave my hand, it won't be no threats. Like, just keep making that melodic shit and stop trying to make like gangster music, and there's not gonna be a problem, because he's saying he likes Drake's music. He says, I know they calling you the boy, but where's the man? Because I ain't seen him yet. So because everybody calls Drake the boy. That's his nickname. But he's saying, like, when you gonna grow up, because you haven't grown up yet. And he's just saying, like, like, fuck, like, grow the fuck up. Matter of fact, I ain't even gonna bleed. I haven't even bleeded yet. Can I bleed? So he's basically saying, like, he said everything I just said wasn't as bad as what I'm about to say next, is what he's saying. And then he tells himself bet, which means like, yes, do it. Success, everything. Stand by sexy red. I believe. When I see you stand by sexy red, I believe you see two bad bitches. So what he's saying is, like, you just act very feminine. Like, you act like you wanna be gay, but you don't want to admit it. And I believe, that he follows up with, I believe you don't like women. It's real competition. You might pop ass with them. So basically, he's saying, like, you might actually just be gay, and and you might even hate women more for the fact that they're competition for the guys you want to get with, and that's why you probably won't get along with them, which is what a lot of women do, especially in this the way life is modern. Like, people don't fall in love no more. They're just all about sugar daddies and sex and all that shit. And then he says, let's speak on percentage. Show me your splits. I'll make sure I double back with you. Because you remember how Drake said that Kendrick Lamar has all these splits? in his contract where he has to split money with people because he didn't own his masters, which he does now, but he didn't at the time. But he does now, like literally, like ever since 2 years ago. But he says, let's talk about that. He says, show me your splits because Drake had the same exact deal. Matter of fact, I think Drake is still signed. So if anyone can talk about splits, it's Kendrick. Kendrick has released music without splits, but he hasn't released an album without splits. But Drake's still releasing music that he's not fully getting paid for. And then he says, "I'll make sure I double back with you." So he said we can really like go check the facts, like the history. But double back is also another word for like so split and double back. Those are two words you use in gymnastics or cheerleading. So that's why he used that word specifically. And he says, you were signed to a nigga that signed to a nigga that said he was signed to that nigga. So he's saying, like, you were signed to Lil Wayne, and then Lil Wayne was signed to Pedophile Boy, Big Bird, Big Man, Birdman. Respectfully, Birdman. I'm putting respect on your name, but I'm just making a joke. Don't be a little girl. And then Birdman apparently said he was signed to that nigga who I think is Lucien from Universal. He's the main guy who handles all his people he's signed to. And I believe Lucien might be white, so he's saying like you guys are just his slaves, I think. Don't like women, it's real competition. You might pop ass with them. Let's speak on percentage. Show me your splits. I'll make sure I double back with you. You was signed to that for the record. Why would I call him to that with him? He said you tried to do a cease and desist on a Like That record. So basically saying that, they used something, they like did some copyright shit, and he was trying to get a way to get this song that Kendrick Lamar dropped on Future and Metro Boomin's album. He was trying to get it discredited and taken off the charts because it was doing so good, and also because it was dissing him. He said like that, but I don't know how this plays into it, but I think that he's also referencing Adonis's song. I like it when you like it, but I don't think so. That's probably not it. Maybe I'm reaching at that point. And then he says, "Oh, what? You don't like that record?" He said, "That's a good song though." And he's saying back to back, "I like the record." So he's saying, "I like your diss song." He said, "I'm gonna get back to that for the record." So obviously he's probably saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna diss you too," but he's also saying like, let's talk about your back to back record. Something on that record wasn't right. And he's saying, I think he's about to explain it in his next line why he likes the record, but it was a problem that record was released because there might not be some factual stuff or how it was handled was improper as an artist. I like that record. You like that record? Back to back. I like that record. Let me get back to that for the record. Why would I call around trying to get? All right. Why would I call around trying to get dirt on niggas? So basically saying like, when you diss Meek, you were begging for information. I don't think he really exposed Meek for anything, but if he did, he's basically saying don't compare me to Meek. Like, I like how you did Meek because I was talented, but he said I'm not the fucking one, and I'm not over here calling around trying to get dirt on niggas so I can make my diss song sound good, which they said that Drake did because he put 150K into the streets and lost it. And that's because somebody also Kendrick claimed it, but somebody confirmed it because they said they were the ones that were paid. But who knows if they're lying, And he said, "Why would I?" He said, "Y'all think my life is rap? That's whole shit. I got a son on a race, but I can see you don't know nothing about that." So he's saying, like, you think I just evolve around rap? Like, rap is his job. Like, when you go to work, that's not your life. That's just your job. So that's kind of how Kendrick Lamar sees it. He sees rap as a job, something he has to do, not something he's obsessed with, like Drake. And then this doubles back to what I said earlier, where Kendrick Lamar he didn't respond to the diss in time because he was taking care of his family. Which, to be honest, Kendrick Lamar responded quicker than Drake did. When Drake drop and give me 50 or push-ups, whatever you want to call it, that diss took like almost 3 weeks to come out. Kendrick's took like what, week and a half or something. So let's not point fingers. Hold up. Over here acting like a dickhead because I gotta leave. I think my ride's here. Hold up. Nope. Okay. All right. He said, I got a son already. So basically, like I reiterated earlier, he's taking care of his son. So he don't got time for this rap beef shit, but he's entertaining it. But he can understand why Drake is so entertained by this. He's saying, you don't take care of your son like this. You can't put your son down. You can't keep holding your son. You got to put your son down so you can entertain the internet shit. And then this is where he starts giving father advice. Waking him up, you don't know nothing about that because doesn't live in America. He just comes here and there. Basically, what Terrence did to Drake. Drake didn't live in America. He just would come visit his daddy. Same thing that Adonis is going through. Apparently, allegedly on this. Mind you, everything on here is alleged, but very convincing. Tell him to pray. You don't know nothing about that. So he's saying, like, at least I wake up in the same house as my kid, and saying I tell my kid how to pray, and I give him knowledge and stuff so that he can, get through his day and his future. Teaching him how to think correctly, how to have better thoughts as a person, like more morals, I guess you could say, because a lot of y'all don't know what morals mean. So I'm just trying to find another word for it, but integrity, like being honest when no one's around, discipline, like like um restraining yourself from like doing shit that you shouldn't, like overspending money or getting drunk on a Sunday when you work on Monday. And speaking the truth and considering what God's considering, like being an honest person and just being religious in general, and what could happen to him if he doesn't do that. Integrity, discipline, just dick riders. Tell him when, which am I pedaling? And then he says, this is not a 1v20. He said, we're not ganging up on you. He said, y'all ganging up on me. Referring to his ghostwriter, saying, like, you're not the only one writing these diss songs. Like, y'all ganging up on me. And he said, but fuck it. You can bring them too. I'll clean them out too. Like, clean them out as far as, like, 3 things. Kill, smack them, and outright them until they are cleaned out. Like, have no more, nothing left to say. No more shots to be thrown. Like, bullet shots and also, like, shots as far as, like, disses. And then he's saying, like, tell Beam that he better stay right next to you. So I think what he's saying is Beam is also a ghostwriter that helps Drake, a co-writer, which is still the ghostwriter. Drake tried to change the words around, rewrite history. That's what he says in Master Manipulator. He said he better stay right with you. He said you better keep that ghostwriter next to you because you're not gonna out-rap me by yourself. Then he says, am I battling ghosts or AI? Nigga feeling like Joel Osteen. So Joel Osteen, he's that religious preacher. So that's why he brings in Ghost, or AI, which is, I guess, a movie that Joel Osteen was in. And Joel Osteen was also in Sixth Sense, I believe. So he's saying that, my Sixth Sense, like, something's telling me that I need to kill him. So that's what he's saying there. Almost done, y'all. 1 more minute. Actually, less. Feeling like Joel Austin when he was in a film called AI. And my 6 cents telling me to off him. I'm a big niggas all in the coffee. He's just saying I'm gonna kill people with my gun. I think there's more meaning to that, but I'm not gonna try to get into that part because OVO niggas is dick riders. So he's saying, like, all the Drake's fans and everybody who supports him, everybody who's part of OVO and signed to OVO, they all dick ride, and low key they're lying to themselves. Tell them run to America, imitate heritage. They can't imitate this land. So basically, he's saying you guys are a bunch of what do you call that? Those people who come from other countries. What's up, bruv? Bruv Alvino. He's basically saying, like, like everybody on OVO is from Canada, and y'all come to our country to try to steal our heritage, like our culture, and try to act like you were born here and you understand us and you live this life. When in reality, you don't live this life. You can't be gangster like this. Like, you're not like that. Basically reiterating his diss song. what I learned is niggas don't like the West Coast. I'm fine without push the line with it. So basically, he's saying like, a lot of rappers don't like the West Coast. They don't respect the West Coast because they're haters. So like New York, the South, like all these other places. A lot of the South does like the West Coast though, and the West Coast versus East Coast beef ended long time ago. But he said, I'm fine with I'll push the line with it. He said, okay, well, we can do this since none of y'all like me. Pick a nigga off one at a time, but he said we can throw our ones basically as far as rap beef and maybe fighting or whatever. We can be on a 3-hour time difference. He said, I'll fight all y'all. He said, I can also have things happen to you even though we're not living in the same time zone. So basically, send shooters, I guess. But don't confuse that with what happened to. Don't confuse that to when Drake got his house shot up. That was related to the incident with The Weeknd, and supposedly, but like it just makes more sense. Go look it up. The Weeknd shootout Drake house. I should bring up the thingy. He says, don't speak on family, Crody, because obviously Drake brought up Kendrick's family first when he said Whitney, which is Kendrick Lamar's wife. And then he starts mimicking the Canadian accent, which is the ugliest accent in the world. Like, Crody, oh yeah. It just sounds like pirate, Jamaican, Irish mixed together with high-pitched voice. It's so ugly. And it's not even a real accent. Like, people created that accent to try to like be pop, like try to be. It's kind of like how Drake acts, like when he tries to act black. Like they created that accent, the Toronto accent, to try to like be so cool, to try to be hip is what the white people call it. And the accent didn't even last. I didn't even like. It's a 5-year-old accent, I believe. It can get deep in the family, Crody. So, like, shit can get deep. Talk about me and my family, Crody. So that's a warning. Someone gonna bleed in your family, Crody. Like, we can shoot you, we can stab you, we can hurt you. I be at New Ho King eating fried rice with dip sauce and blam and Crody. So just telling you what he could eat in this same city where, in Toronto, where Drake got allegedly robbed and pissed on. I guess they stole his watch or something. And he's saying, he said, I can eat comfortably there, but you can't, basically. And at the same time, throwing shade. He said, tell me you're cheesing, fam. We can do this right now on the camera, Cody. So being cheesy, getting bread, but also like you're smiling too hard about this shit. Like, do you think this is funny? So he's saying, you think this is funny? We can do this on the camera. So he's not talking about like, he might be talking about this as well, like fighting on camera, so everybody see. But he's mainly saying like, we can do this on the camera, like camera shots. Like when people say you're in my camera, that means like they're gonna shoot you. So he's saying like, oh, you think this is funny? I can shoot you right now. That's basically what he's saying. Hey, fuck y'all niggas. And then he just compares to how it's easy to like field goal, the little game they used to play. He said they punk y'all niggas because he said that OVO people act like they're so hard when they're not. Nobody ever took my food, just referring to like, nobody's ever stopped my bag. Nobody's ever punked me out in a restaurant. Whoever that's fucking with him, fuck the niggas, fuck the industry too. So he's saying fuck OVO, fuck all his fans, fuck all his supporters, and fuck the way this thing's gonna work out if it doesn't work in my favor. And he said, if you take it down, taking it further, that's something you don't want to do. He said, this can really get ugly. He's saying, like, I could really fuck up your life, which he's doing right now. So he warned him on the first diss song, and it just got worse from there. And then he says, psst. And then when he says, psst, that's like a call forward or call back, I guess you could say, to his diss song, Not Like Us, because he says that in the diss song, which is actually part of a movie, I believe. And he says, that's something you don't want to do. And then he says, ooh, like, that's the sound ghosts make. So Ghost Riders. And we don't want to hear you say nigga no more. He says it twice, saying like, we're tired of it. Stop acting black. And then he says stop. That's just his way of like ending songs all the times. Doesn't really mean anything. But yeah, that's the breakdown of Euphoria. I'm sorry I was moving and mumbling and everything, but that is actually what that shit means. And you know, so hope y'all enjoyed the video. So y'all can leave me the fuck alone and stop blowing on my damn social media. All right, y'all. Peace out, crowdies. I'm just kidding. Like, comment, subscribe. Next time I do a reaction, I won't be sitting in a hot ass room, half drunk. Supposedly I think better when I'm drunk, but it is what it is. All right, I'm out though. I got things to do. Bye. It's my first time going live, so let me get the fuck out of here somehow. Save my way. What the hell does that mean? How do I end this shit? Okay.